Welcome back, good students, and still Doll's House Use of Language, the year is 2022 KCSE. Previously, we had seen some of the use of language devices in the play that we successfully went through. And if in case you've not seen that or you've not watched that video, why don't you do this? Go back, you never know. And two, this is the second part of it. We're still looking into the figurative language use in the play and possibly their interpretations and their effect to the readers. Welcome. Contrast or stock juxtaposition is also another figurative language aspect that is used in this play. Contrast or juxtaposition involves two characters or things being placed together with a contrasting effect. When two ideas, concepts that are placed close together with totally contrasting picture is what we refer to as contrast or juxtaposing. Now, example in the text. The father-daughter relationship between Nora and her father and that of Nora and Torvald is contrasted in the final act. Nora makes this connection that life with her father was like life with Torvald. Nora's father would force his beliefs on her, and she would comply with them lest she upset him. She would bury her personal belief under purpose. According to Nora, Torvald was guilty of the same things. A good example was his insistence on her wearing the fish girl costume and his frustration over her inability to grasp the tarantella. Foreshadow is also another figurative language used right there. This refers to clues that point to events that will happen later towards the end of the play. For example, Nora's early rebellion of eating the macarons against Torvald foreshadows her later rebellion. The way Torvald always called Nora, and I quote, "My little skylark, my little squirrel, and my little singing bird, and my pretty little pet, my little sweet tooth, and my poor little Nora," was a foreshadow. She ends up saying something like, and I quote, "I'm just your little dove." In the later acts, when she decides to leave him, she acknowledges the fact that there was never actually love between them. She was just his play toy, hence the name of the play, A Doll's House. Now, in the following conversation, good students, between Nora and Anne-Marie, there is use of foreshadow. Nora: "Yes, but Naz, I shall not be able to be so much with them now as I was before." Naz: "Oh, well, young children easily get accustomed to anything." Nora: "Do you think so? Do you think they would forget their mother if she went away altogether?" You can find that on page 50. Nora eventually leaves her family, which was why she asked Anne-Marie how she possibly could have done it. Torvald's stubbornness about deigning Krogstad the banking job has complicated Nora's attempt to continue hiding her little secret. We know there is going to be trouble later. Nora's secret is bound to come out. Ibsen has foreshadowed an ironic inevitability. Mrs. Linden plays the role of foreshadowing the future of Nora and a mirror to Nora's character. She delves into the mistakes Nora will make and views her for what she truly is. She is the wise woman who has hindsight of what becomes of women who spend their money and borrow. She provides exposition to the play because she is the only one Nora can discuss her history with without consequences. Talking to Mrs. Linden provides an opportunity for the audience to understand Nora's character. Mrs. Linden shares with Nora that her husband had died and that due to her habits and his unstable business, she was now poor and struggling to make ends meet. She seems to be foreshadowing Nora's impending fate. Krogstad and Nora are also contrasted. The more we learn of Krogstad, the more we understand that he shares a great deal with Nora Helmer. First, both have committed the crime of forgery. Moreover, their motives were out of desperate desire to save their loved ones. Also, like Nora, Krogstad has contemplated ending his life to eliminate his troubles but was ultimately too scared to follow through. Dr. Rank's treatment of Nora is contrasted sharply with that of Torvald. Rank always treats Nora like an adult. He listens to her and affords her a dignity, which is missing in Torvald's treatment. Mrs. Linden's relationship with Krogstad also provides a point of comparison with that of Nora and Torvald. Nora and Mrs. Linden are also contrasted, whereas Mrs. Linden took responsibility for her sick parent, Nora abandoned her father when he was ill. Mrs. Linden's account of her life of poverty underscores the privileged nature of the life that Nora leads. Her sensible world view contrasts sharply with Nora's somewhat childlike outlook on life. Foil. A foil is a literary character who contrasts another character in order to highlight certain aspects of the other characters. Now, it's equally used as a style or a figurative aspect. Examples: Mrs. Linden's life's journey from independence to marriage is a foil to Nora's journey in the opposite direction. Dr. Rank is a foil to Torvald in that he treats Nora as an intelligent human being, and she in return speaks more openly to him than she does to her husband. Mrs. Linde is the character that really makes Nora look bad in comparison and acts as a foil for Nora. In fact, you could argue that all the characters act as foils for Nora. Motives. What are motives? Motives are recurring structures, contrasts, or literally devices that can help to develop and inform the text's major themes. Now, example: Nora's divination of freedom. Nora's understanding of the meaning of freedom recurs in the play. In the first act, she believes that she will be totally free as soon as she has repaid her debt, because she could devote herself fully to her domestic responsibilities. After Krogstad blackmails her, however, she reconsiders her outlook regarding freedom and questions whether she is happy in Torvald's house, subjected to his orders and commands. By the end of the play, Nora seeks a new kind of freedom. She wishes to be relieved of her familiar obligations in order to pursue her own ambitions, beliefs, and identity. Use of letters. Many of the plot's twists and turns depend upon the writing and reading of letters. Krogstad writes 2 letters. The first reveals Nora's crime of forgery to Torvald. The second retracts his blackmail threat and returns Nora's promissory note. The first letter, which Krogstad places in Torvald's letterbox near the end of Act 2, represents the truth about Nora's past and initiates the inevitable dissolution of her marriage. The second letter releases Nora from her obligation to Krogstad and represents her release from her obligation to Torvald. And the 2 letters have exposed the truth about Torvald's selfishness, and Nora can no longer participate in the illusion of a happy marriage. Dr. Rank communicates his imminent death through another form of a letter, a calling card marked with a black cross in Torvald's letterbox. By leaving his calling card as a death notice, Dr. Rank politely attempts to keep Torvald from the ugly, quote-unquote, truth, as he has said earlier about his best friend. Torvald, that is. Other letters include Mrs. Linden's note to Krogstad, which initiates her life-changing meeting with him, and Torvald's letter of dismissal to Krogstad. Hyperbole, good students. Hyperbole is also another figurative language use. Hyperbole refers to the extreme exaggeration of statements or claims which make someone or something sound bigger, better, or more than they are. Examples in the text. Nora: yes, that's just it. Helma: now you've destroyed all my happiness. You've ruined all my future. It is horrible to think of. I am in the power of an unscrupulous man. He can do what he likes with me, ask anything he likes of me, give me any order he pleases. I dare not refuse, and I must sink to such miserable depths because of a thoughtless woman. That one is found on page 104. It is hyperbole because although Nora may have caused a major accident of forging a signature and hiding it from Helma, it is not obvious it will affect his future. Helma is exaggerating that his happiness is destroyed because he feels betrayal and anger, just to show the seriousness of the shame that Nora has caused. Second, we have got Mrs. Linden. But now I am quite alone in the world. My life is so dreadfully empty and I feel so forsaken. This is a hyperbole because Mrs. Linden is exaggerating about her situation. Third, we have Nora. I should like to tear it into 100,000 pieces. It is a hyperbole because Nora cannot possibly be able to tear the letter into 1,000 pieces. Good students, this marks again the end of this particular part here. And maybe we shall just embark onto something different before you sit for your exams in the near future. I think it is in 2 weeks' time. Good day for now.